Hello and welcome to Code with Joe. In today's video we talk about RFID chips, cryptocurrency and microchips, and why I believe that microchips will be the next big thing in our life as a human, basically. Because the way I played around with RFID chips today, and I was doing some testing, it is really simple to actually program them. And to me, it makes perfectly sense that this is the next step of the evolution, the next step on, how payments work. And I did actually here, I actually set up here something. So I got here my Raspberry Pi. I got here an RFID chip reader, and I got a RFID tag. And what we're going to do today is we will save our private key here on this RFID card, and then we will do a transaction. We will send a transaction from one address to another address, and we will just confirm the transaction, because whenever we create a transaction we have to confirm it with a private key, and we will confirm the transaction with the private key that is saved on our RFID chip. And this works like this. So where's my Pi? So I'm connected here through SSH to my Raspberry Pi, and I can start this. So with the first thing we do, the first step is we will actually save our private key onto our RFID tag, and for this I got a script here. Let's call it write2.py. So we have here asked for new data. So I'm going to copy here my private key. This is a private key from my account from the early testnet, so you don't have to save the video and write down the private key. There is no money for you to get if you use the private key. So I save the private key, and so the length of private keys is 64 characters, right? Now the issue is what we can only save 48 characters on these RFID tags. So what's going to happen here is we have to convert it to either to a hex or base 64. We have to encode it with base 64 the first time. So this is what we do here. So now we get a message. So this is the converted string here in base 64. So this was the private key, and this is the string that we actually write to our tag. So I need to go over here to my Raspberry Pi, and just like so, I save the private key on this RFID tag, and now we can make a transaction. So I run this second script that I have here, and it's called python read2.py. So we read from card. So I should have written this script a little bit better. However, it works. So I read from card. So the first thing we get back here is a identification. The second string, second information that we got back was the private key again. So this was this private key, and we got back the private key. And down here we got a transaction hash. And we got a message as well saying the transaction has been sent to this address. So I specified this address earlier. Let's just check if this transaction actually went through. So I copy this here, and I'm on the early testnet. So I paste in the transaction hash. Okay, so the transaction went through. So we can see here the transaction. This was from my address. So this was the address where I have the private key from. And this was the receiving address. And we sent 0.01 testnet ether. Click on here. There, and you can see this was 46 seconds ago. And so this is how simple it works. This is how we can use RFID chips, how we can save information on our RFID chips, and then make transactions with it. And if you look how small they are, and really we don't need much, all we need is to save the private key on there. Of course there's a downside to it, because like once what happens if you go out at night and you party and then you pass out and somebody walks around with an RFID reader and he basically scans your body, then he could actually read out your private key and would have access to your funds. So this is one big downside of the whole thing with RFID chips. Other than that, I really like the idea, and to me it makes perfectly sense, and without being like conspiracy theorist, but this is conspiracy theorist, but this is the next step in evolution, that we will like merge with machines, and we will merge with technology, not just have a cell phone in our hand, but the next step is definitely that we will have chips in our body implanted. Is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? I don't know. But if the, nuclear disaster doesn't happen or whatever, this will, we will move into this direction. And I will also keep you guys updated on this, how my journey with RFID chips and microchip implant goes, because I'm really interested in this field. And yeah, I will keep making videos when I find something interesting that's worth to make a tutorial. But yeah, so far I think this is a really good step to learn about RFID chips and cryptocurrencies and how to combine them. It's like basically real world with the virtual world is what we can combine, because we can save our private key actually on a card. Yeah, of course the bad thing is always you lose the card, it's gone. If somebody else reads out the information of your card, your funds are also gone. So, but other than that, I think it has potential in one way or the other. And yeah, I'm going to show you just the script that I wrote here. I will also post both files, the write.py file and the read.py file on my GitHub, so you can just play around and test it for yourself. So all I have here is the Raspberry Pi 4, I think what I have, the 4 GB. I'm not even sure, but any Raspberry Pi might work. And the RFID reader, I got the RFID 522. You find all the information also here on Google. RFID 522. This is the first one. You can grab the RFID reader and the Raspberry Pi I got from Amazon. And yeah. But this is really cheap. I think it's like $5 or $6. It gives you a set with a few chips. You get a few cards like this, and you also get a few of those tags. So it gives you a lot to play around with. It's kind of a fun project. I hope you guys like it. And yeah, if you want to see some more tutorials like this, then be sure to subscribe to my channel and also share this video with everybody. Yeah, before I forget, I actually want to show you the code. Actually, this is the most important part here. So I do it with nano read 2.py. So really, it's not really a difficult code. Up here. So as you can see, I basically connect here to the blockchain. This is what I need because I want to send a transaction on the blockchain. I have hard coded this so we can actually, if you play around with it, this can actually be user inputs. Well, one thing is the address. So this is the address where I have the private key to. So with the private key of this address, I sign the transaction, sending 0.01 Ethereum to this address. And this is just the transaction. So first of all, we read it. So when I run the script, first we read from the card, then we get back here an ID and a text. ID is generated automatically, so we cannot influence the ID, but the text. And so the text was the private key, which we converted, and then we converted in this script back to the original private key, because we need the private key, so this is the tag, to sign here the transaction. It's really simple. It's a straightforward sending transaction. I have made plenty of tutorials on this. And yeah, this is how it is. We execute it. Of course, so first of all, we convert the string, so the encoded string that we get back when we run the first script. And then when this was decoded back to the private key, then we run the transaction function here. And when we convert the private key, we got access to the decimal, so this is the private key, and then we can sign it. And I'll show you the other file too. This was the nano read2.py, and now actually, sorry about this, not the read2, this was the nano write2.py. So this is where we actually save our private key. So what we do when we start the key, the script, we have an input, add new data. So this is when we actually, paste in the string of our private key. Then we place the tag to write the private key, and then it will be encoded. So before we actually write it, we decode our private keys to shorten it from 64 down to less than 48 characters, and then we save this string here on this file. And this is just for the cleanup of the GPIO from the Raspberry Pi. And yeah, it's really simple, straightforward script. Again, I'll leave it in the GitHub. You can just play around with it. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys very soon in one of my next videos. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye.